and then asking Hashem to please grant me the wisdom in order to know exactly what to say, when I need to say it, exactly how I need to say it, to who I need to say it to. Whew. So, I told you I'd wake up to see today. That's another prediction. Just like I'm gonna wake up to see tomorrow. How do you know? How can you be so sure? Because I was thinking about this morning, and I was thinking about this argument from yesterday. Like, how can you be so sure that you're gonna wake up to see the morning when you don't know what's gonna happen in the next 5 minutes? Because there's a trend that I've noticed when crossing the street over here at that light. It's that once in a blue moon, when the light turns green, there's a car coming towards me that's trying to make a left. And the driver of that car sometimes doesn't pay attention to the fact that I'm crossing the street and will proceed to make a left-hand turn, regardless of the fact that I'm in their direct trajectory to be hit. And over the course of the last 6 months, I think, that's happened about 3 or 4 times. Which tells me that it's possible, that it's not impossible, that someone is eventually going to hit me. Now, considering how far that they would have to travel at the acceleration rate at which to get to the point where I'm standing at, they probably wouldn't kill me. They may not even hurt me too badly, but they would be moving at enough of a velocity that it'll at least cause a scene and give me something to bitch about or to celebrate. And if memory serves, I don't think I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure like every single time that's happened, I've had it recorded. That'd be fun. There's the green light. Now, like I was saying, I was doing some thinking about this when I woke up this morning. I woke up just like I said I would. I ended up doing some writing about it. Back when I was an infant, there was an incident where I was admitted into the ER and I was supposed to die. I was supposed to die, but instead I became the boy that lived. Now that's not to say that there wasn't timelines where I did die, but they become irrelevant. Like for instance, there's a timeline, even though we're not going to manifest it, where I walk out in the middle of the street right now, and I get fucking smushed by a car. Although, chances are, like, if I did walk out in the middle of the street, I would bet you that everybody would stop. I mean, I could jump in front of this car. This way they don't have time to stop. This guy right next to me, he's making a right. So it's a good chance that when the light turns, he's just going to go, not paying any attention. because he's in such a fucking rush. I can sense it on him. Let's see. No, he's going straight. That person didn't hit me. So yeah, to say that I'm absolutely going to wake up to see tomorrow morning, I can't be 100% sure. I mean, at most, I could be 99.998% sure. With an error variance of 0.002%. So you gotta leave room for the wiggle room for the Holy Ghost. But considering what Yoda said to Luke, how the future's always in motion, like you can't say for sure what is or isn't gonna happen at any one point. But we can slow time down enough in our minds to recognize that the desired outcome is one of an infinite number of outcomes. It just happens to be that the timeline that I'm on and all the timelines that are branching out from it, all the ones that I die, they're irrelevant. But I also believe I'm immortal. But I also believe I'm immortal because I have to be immortal. Why? Why? Because there's something that I'm learning from reading the Tanakh. And the biggest problem with Israel is that the people need somebody to rule them. I just finished Kings 1 yesterday and started on Kings 2, which ends with the death of King David and the appointment of King/Uncle Solomon. Now, just knowing what I know, after Solomon dies, his son takes over. And after his son takes over, everything kind of falls to shit again. Leading up to the Babylonians conquering Israel and destroying the temple and the Jews going into exile. But the same thing happened after Moses and Joshua died. Like, if there's not someone constantly watching over these people, they fall into fucking complete disarray. Just solidifying the point that people really can't manage themselves. And so because of that, they kind of need somebody to constantly be there. But once you start going from generation to generation, things, they fall apart. But I mean, at the same time, like, that's just the cycle of things. I mean, everything kind of builds up. I mean, it's a good metaphor for life, I guess. Like, nothing can be the same forever. Everything has to, like, build up and then break down again. We don't necessarily live in a universe of absolutes. But that doesn't mean that rule, that law, doesn't eventually break down and then absolutes do take precedence. In the sense that, right, all good things have to come to an end. But maybe that's also part of the cycle, whereas maybe there comes a point where all good things don't come to an end for a while. kind of like how order eventually evolves into chaos, which eventually evolves back into order. It's like the day and night cycles. It's only nighttime for so long before it turns back into daytime, before it turns back into nighttime. But I'm pretty confident about this whole immortal thing. I'm not too shy about it. Not too shy about the potential that it's not impossible. Yeah, like immortal in the sense, like I don't have to worry about getting old or any kind of shit like that. Like, I mean, there was a time when, I mean, look at Methuselah. That guy lived almost 1,000 years old. So it is a thing. I think it's just there has to be a need for it, though. If there's no reason for it, if there's no reason for you to live forever, then there's no reason for you to live forever. You know what I mean? Everything has to have a reason. If something doesn't have a reason to exist, then it doesn't exist. And it has to be of some kind of benefit, one way or the other. So yeah, just as there were timelines where infant Derek died, there was also even more infinite potential timelines where infant Derek survived. We happen to be on at least one of them right now. And considering the fact that everything happens exactly the way that it does, everything happened exactly the way that it did, so that right now it can be exactly the way that it is, so that what's to come is exactly the way that it is going to happen. We could argue that from at least one perspective, maybe two, that immortality is not completely out of the question. Especially if one person is the channel through which that Hashem's will is being carried out. Because they can tell you right goddamn now that at this particular moment, from my perspective, there's nobody else who could carry out the will of Hashem like I can. And mind you, I could be wrong. I'm not saying that I'm absolutely right. There is a 2.002% chance of error. But even still, once we throw away that 99.998% chance of me being wrong about everything, there is still that 0.002% of everything else that I'm right about. And we can just kind of focus on that. Now that becomes a new 99.998%. Well, numbers. And well, I mean, technically, it's all a numbers game anyway, so. And immortality, like, we could argue that my immortal soul is going to carry on regardless, so I am right about that. And that once this vessel dies, my consciousness will go on to reawaken in another body, reincarnation. Which I have a theory about that. I believe that if that is the case, I'll probably just wake up in my son. Because that's what happened with my father. After my father died, I started to recognize aspects of him that were coming online inside of me. But the boy does have those aspects of his mother in there too, so that can pose a hindrance. Although, when we were good. See, I have another theory that a lot of my relationship with my son has to do with the fact that with the relationship with his mother, the imbalance between her and I is a reflection, I believe, of the imbalance within him. And that if we can balance things out with each other, then just by the law of analogy, the law of correspondence, balance within him will also be restored. And he'll be able to go on to do greater things than me. What? Yeah, when I woke up this morning, I don't know, I had this thing that when I wake up in the morning, I'm still kind of like in the world in between. I'm not fully here yet. I'm still waking up. So it's typically around when I wake up, either from a nap or from a sleep, that messages really come through hard. Because that channel's like fully open. And a project that I've been working on since May 8th, 2018, or May 7th, 2018, is reconciling with my son's mother. I'm not saying getting remarried. I'm not saying that's also impossible. I don't think that's impossible. But reconciling between the two of us so that our relationship is a little more cohesive, a little more sturdy, especially than what it was. But these past 5 years that I've been out of their lives, I was thinking about this yesterday, is that in order for me to have, actually before we split, I had this vision for myself of who I needed to be, how I needed to be, what I needed to be doing with myself. And it became apparent to me that I wasn't able to do that in the current situation at the time. That in order for me to be who I believed that they needed me to be, I needed to take a big break to recollect my thoughts, recollect my feelings, figure myself out. So that I could do the things that I needed to do in order to be the person that I needed to be for them. So I was working a job that I fucking hated. I was in a career that it was just destroying me. And so I would bring that home and not be the best father or husband that I could be, even though we can argue that at the time I was working with what I had, so I couldn't be any better than what I was, because I didn't have the tools in order to do that. I didn't have the experience either. That's a big part of it. Or another way to look at it was, I didn't know how to recognize the experience I had and the value that was attached to it. In that I was notorious for undervaluing myself. Which began to wane. By September, October 2016, which is when I realized I needed to be more independent, and not just from them, but in my professional life as well. Which was around the time when everything I needed in order to guide me down the path of entrepreneurialism started to sprout. But at the same time, it would take the next 5 years of working day and night to finally be secure enough in myself and with what I was doing to accept the fact that, oh, hell yeah, I got what it takes. I've been killing it. So this morning, I woke up with an idea based on some work I've been doing, based on a project, based on a theory, based on an experiment in relation to astrology and one's birth chart, and how to recognize days of importance based on particular placements within one's chart, natal chart. In that, if we look at the chart and its relation to the solar year, we can pinpoint specific days where significant events and experiences could potentially take place. So what I did was I pulled up my son's chart just to kind of see if I can see anything relevant to the current time frame. And even going back a little bit to see, like, oh, you know what, maybe this day is important, maybe this day was important. These are some happenings that could be significant to him and you, being that you're his mother and you're with him. So, what I eventually did was I pulled up her chart too. And I noticed that there were some significant happenings between now, over the past week, and also within the next coming week. So I kind of tipped her off to keep note of specific dates coming up, and even some unsolicited advice as to how to approach those dates. Now, this is also a bit of a project that I'm working with a few other people, including my sister, with, because I've done enough work with my own chart that I feel as though it's the right time to start branching out and working with other people's charts to see if I can replicate to one degree or another, my own experiences through somebody else. Now, what is important to consider in that kind of work, this kind of work, is that we have to throw objectivity out the window and focus solely on the subjective. A lot of people like to discredit astrology because of the fact that it's incredibly subjective. You could say something to one person and it'll be relevant to somebody else, which is a good thing, which is actually a good thing. Because if you consider it, the same insights that we share between two people, yeah, it's the same insight, but both people are going to interpret it in their own objective way based on their own subjective perspective of reality. Whoa. Because as an individual, we all have subjective perspectives on things, but at the same time, we know that even our subjective outlook is objective to us. I don't give a shit how many times you tell me that the sky is fucking purple. I can tell you objectively that the sky is white right now. It's gray. Shades of gray. That bitch ain't blue. And it definitely ain't purple. I look up, I see shades of gray. But it's because of clouds. I don't give a shit what it is. What color is it? Look. You see blue? You don't see blue. I don't give a fuck if there's blue behind the clouds. There may not even be blue behind the clouds. But the nice thing about sharing what I shared with my son's mother is that up until this point, I wasn't secure and confident enough in myself to be able to express that side of me to that woman. Because even when we were married, I couldn't even do husbandly things because I was ashamed, scared, and mostly afraid of her making fun of me and laughing at me and proving me wrong. Just recently, we had started to communicate back and forth a little bit. And I got to see the date on that. We started to communicate, and via messenger, not so much talking with mouth words, but what I found was that I was starting to communicate feelings and share feelings that I never shared with her before, that I wasn't comfortable sharing. Why I did certain things that I did, why I didn't do certain things that I didn't do. And it was hard. I mean, granted, it's like fucking jumping into a cold pool. It seems impossible when you're looking at it going, damn, my balls are going to go right up into my throat. But once you jump in, one, your balls don't go up into your throat. I mean, they'll fucking shrink like somebody fucking squeezed them. But at the same time, You get used to it. It's just a matter of a minute or two before your body adjusts to the fact that you just fucking jumped into ice water. It's like taking a cold shower. Ever take a cold shower? Like, it's hard to breathe at first. Like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. Ugh. But then you adjust and it's not as bad as what it was when you first fucking jumped into it. Because, one, regardless of, my ex, she's seen somebody. So like, she's in a relationship. But that doesn't stop the fact that we still have the boy. So, and just because I haven't seen the guy in like 5 years doesn't detract from the fact that he is my son, and every day for the past 5 years, I think about him, what he's going through, how the fact that he hasn't seen his father in 5 years, how that may be affecting him. But it also gave me an opportunity to share with her some of my old-timey fucking sorcerer ways. Because, I'm not gonna lie, what I do is fucking awesome. I love what I do. It's like my favorite thing ever. And I have a few other people that I'm working with on their charts, so I have this experiment going with more than one person. And when it comes to this type of work, like I said, objectivity gets thrown out the window, but cherry picking and personal bias is also really important. That's the most important part. It's almost like the opposite of the scientific method. Like you gotta pretty much throw the scientific method out the window, or do it in reverse. Look at it in reverse. Which, how do you do that? You have to have the outcome. You have to have the desired outcome first. Which, being that it's mental, it's basically it's an experiential type of confirmation. But even experiential happenings take place in the mind. So you can make anything happen. You can make the future happen in your mind. Like right now, I'm seeing the future. I'm seeing the future, the not too distant future, in about an hour and a half, when I'm patting myself on the back after I hit the stop button, or maybe even right before. Yeah, that's the other future that I'm seeing. So there's two versions of the future that I'm seeing right now. One where I hit the stop after I'm done recording, or I just let it record till it stops. Oh, but there's a third future too. The third, either we got one of three outcomes. Either I hit the stop button, I pat myself on the back, or I pat myself on the back right before I hit the stop button, or I just let this bitch run out without even thinking about hitting the stop button, and once I see that it stops recording, then I pat myself on the back. Now, there's also other variables that we got to throw in there too, because like yesterday, we were recording, right? After about an hour and a half, we walk out of the woods, and I was lighting a cigarette, and my knuckle hit the stop button, and then I had to pick up recording for another half hour after that. Instead of it being one flowy video, it turned into two because of human error. But at the same time, we could argue, and I know what you're thinking, yeah, if everything happens for a reason, then it wasn't an accident. You needed to do that. Yeah, but why the fuck would I need to do that? Well, maybe because not everybody's going to want to sit. Well, then no, let's be honest. I mean, not everybody has the time to sit for 2 hours and listen to me talk. So maybe one way to look at it is that I had to accidentally hit the stop button so that I can restart the recording that would turn into a half-hour recording, because a half-hour recording is less intimidating than 2 hours. Even though, if you want some advice, put me on 2 times speed. I'm going to be saying the same things. And you'll be able to cram all of that information in half the amount of time. Like, for instance, when I read a book on Audible, right? Or when I listen to a book on Audible, I don't listen to them on 1 time speed. And it's not like 2 times. When you turn it up 1 octave, what's an octave? An octave is sound played at twice the speed. Like if you're musically inclined, right? You already know what I'm talking about. But if you hit the C sharp and then you go up 1 octave, it's still the same note. It's just a higher pitch, which gives it the illusion that it's playing faster. But in reality, all that's really happening is that it's playing at a higher frequency. So you're getting the same information. It's just that you're getting that information at a higher octave than you would have. 1 higher octave. So when I listen to Audible, and if you don't have Audible, I highly suggest Audible. Audible, do you want to sponsor me? When you open up your Audible app and you open up a book, right? There's an option at the bottom of the screen and it says playback speed. And you can, by default, the playback speed is 1 times, 1x, right? That's the standard playback frequency. Now you can adjust it. I believe you can adjust it from 0.5 to 3 times. So you can slow it down by an octave, or you can dial it up an octave or an octave and a half. Now, once you listen to a book on 3 times speed, that's not even my brain. I haven't trained my brain to do that, and it's just like you can't even understand it. Like there's no words. Like you really have to sit there and focus, and once you pick up one word, once you can actually pick up a word or a phrase, you're already fucking on the next page, and it's I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying that the brain and the mind can't be trained to slow down the information, which is an experiment I want to do. But dialing up to 2 times speed, that's the sweet spot. Because also consider at 3 times speed, it's an octave and a half. And really, who the fuck plays with octaves and a half octaves? Either an up an octave, down an octave. Don't fuck with the halves. Now, mind you, I know 0.5 is half of 1. Yeah, but that's the point. That's down 1 octave. One times 2 is 2, right? So 2 is 1 octave higher. 1 octave higher than 1. 1 divided by 2 is 0.5, which is 1 octave lower. Now, what Audible should do, I mean, if they're gonna be so ballsy as to give users the option to listen to a book at times 3 speed, which if you got Audible and you never did it, throw your book on 3 times speed and listen just as an experiment, just to listen to it. You can't. I have a theory, though, that times 4, now that's the sweet spot, because that's up 2 octaves. And I know, at that point, it's not even gonna sound like anything. It's just gonna sound like sound. But consider that at that point, what's happening is the frequencies of what's being played back is going right into your fucking, not just your subconscious mind, but that's going all the way down to the unconscious mind, because your unconscious mind is going to pick up on all the subtleties. Because once you go that far down into the consciousness, what we consider time is irrelevant. And that's kind of the point with the 2 times playback, because you're getting the same information, but all the really important stuff is just getting pumped right into your fucking subconscious. And if you are like me and have trained your subconscious mind to be closer to the conscious level, it works out perfectly. But what I would recommend, especially with these 2-hour fucking videos, sometimes 2.5, what I would recommend, blast this bitch up, right? Because if on YouTube, like every video, there's like a little gear at the bottom. Oh no! It's the 3 dots in the top right corner. If you click that, a little window will pop down, and at the bottom it'll say playback speed. And you can adjust the speed of the video between like 0.5, 1, 2, 3. I don't know if it goes to 4, but the good thing about it is, one, taking Audible back as the example, is I love Audible. I like audiobooks, and the reason I like audiobooks is because all of that, consider the fact that when you're reading a book, right? You gotta hold the book, you gotta scan with your eyes, you gotta turn the pages. There's a lot of mechanics going in there. Now when you got an audiobook, you just put that shit on, you can lie the fuck down, shut your eyes, and just enjoy the trip. Because all of that energy that was being expelled to do all the mechanical work is now being redirected as cognitive energy, where now you're getting more of a visual experience. And even more of a emotional experience as well. And in some cases, a spiritual experience. But also consider that, see, even when I read fiction, I look at it as nonfiction. Because the experiences of the individuals in the story, they're having real experiences. They're experiencing real emotions. They're having real thoughts. And even though the story may be made up, the story's still relative, in the sense like, I can relate to this. That's why we like books that we like. I can relate to this guy's story. No, I've never ridden a dragon before, but I understand. I can through the law of analogy, I can appreciate it. I can make sense of it in my own way. Riding a dragon, that implies a sense of power and domination over, not domination, yeah. That demonstrates a power over nature, over the supernatural aspects of nature. And when I say supernatural, I don't mean to just ghosts and spooks and specters. Supernatural in the sense that a higher form of nature that we aren't familiar with, an alien component of the force of nature, of the natural forces. A dragon rider, Khaleesi, for instance, what that demonstrates in a sense is the divine feminine taming a destructive force of nature. Divine feminine, because Khaleesi is a queen. Kings and queens are divine. We have divine blood that flows through our veins. It separates us from the cattle down below. It's kind of a jerk-off way of looking at it. It's an elitist way of looking at it, but consider the difference between the queen bee and the worker bee. There's a social hierarchy. And you want to talk about myths and legends. Let's talk about human equality. Humans aren't equal. It just doesn't work that way. We're social creatures, and we're social creatures who have social hierarchies that our arrogance and ignorance blinds us to. Kind of like the myth of alpha males and omega males and beta males and gamma males and sigma males. Ay. It's not that it doesn't exist. Of course it's a thing. But at the same time, it's not to say that one is better than the other. They all have value. Some women are alpha women, and they need a beta male to kind of own. Is that how it works? Although, we could argue that though we perceive a man as a beta man, that in reality, and the dynamic of the relationship that we don't see, they share power. It just appears that she dominates him. But I'm sure that there is a hidden window into their relationship where he dominates over her. So I'm all about segregation. So early on in the Torah, God separates the Israelites. He instructs Moses to separate the Israelites by tribe. So all the Ephraimites stay with the Ephraimites. All the Judites stay with the Judites. All the Benjaminites stay with the Benjaminites. So everybody's camped together. Makes it easier for a consensus. Plus, later on down the line, when we're distributing portions of land to each tribe, it makes things a little bit more concise when going, all right, listen, just marry within your tribe. But keep in mind that if you marry from another tribe, that doesn't mean that you get the inheritance of that tribe. No, sorry, don't work like that. You take away from another tribe, she becomes part of your tribe, and she gives up everything from hers. Even though technically inheritance falls to the males, except for in certain situations. If a man only has daughters and he has no sons, then the inheritance goes to the daughters. Son of a bitch. I know, I was just thinking about this. I was thinking about my father-in-law, my ex-father-in-law, and because he only has daughters. He's got 2 daughters. Now, they had a son, but he died. His name was Derek. So I always thought of myself as like the sole son that they didn't have. Wow, isn't that convenient that I would marry your daughter? But then I started to, as I was talking, I was visualizing how the inheritance is going to go to his daughters because he doesn't have a son. But at the same time, there's this lady I follow on YouTube. What the fuck? Water goddess magic? I don't know. I forget her channel name, but I like her readings. But she had just recently posted a video that said that I didn't watch. I just saw the title. I saw the title. I'm like, yeah, I get it. And it said that something about like, oh, you won. You're about to get back everything that a group of witches took away from you. And I think I know what that means. Well, my son. I don't like to say my ex-wife too because she's got a boyfriend. So I don't want to like, hey, listen, man. I'm not saying he's a better man than me for her, but I'm just saying that, like, hey, listen. Do you, boo? I don't hate. Even though, you're spilling tea. So, I personally believe that she's madly in love with me. And the reason that we don't talk is because, like, I hurt her. That wasn't always very nice because I would say mean things, I would do mean things, and I didn't treat her with respect. And when she had her period, I would like throw fucking, hey, take your Kotex. Get out of here. I wasn't very sympathetic to her needs. I was like a very cold and distant person. Like an asshole. It's always breaking her down. I did very little to actually build her up as a person. So the fact that she would want to move on and find someone more pro her, I can't blame that. So I mean, after living with me for 13 years, like, hey, listen, I ain't the only one that needed a break. So I understand that. But at the same time, there's the boys. So like, I gotta fix things how best I feel that I can fix it. And if it goes to the point where the potential that we could potentially reconcile in terms of a relationship, unless she's getting married, I don't know, then it's not impossible that could happen. I don't think it's impossible. There's not many women that stand up to her quality. You know what I mean? I know, it's one of those things, like, you don't know what you lose till you lost it. Because I think about it, I'm like, fuck. I had it good. I had it real good. We did make a good couple, I ain't gonna lie. And everybody knew it, like, our sister-in-law, my godwife, she even said, you guys are hot. Yeah, I know. I was saying, like, when we were good, we were good. It's just, sometimes the bad outweighs the good, but being a wizarding witch, old-timey sorcerer, I have the power to transmute bad into good. So I can look at all the bad stuff and see the good that actually is hidden right beneath the surface, because there wasn't anything bad. Even older versions of me would say, "Oh, my marriage fell apart when she did this." No, everything worked out exactly the way that it was supposed to. Like, go back to the Tanakh, right? So, right before King David died, his son, Adonijah, declared himself king. He threw a big fucking festival, and he was inviting people, and everybody's having a good time drinking and eating. Nigga, I'm king. But then word got back to one of his wives, Bathsheba, who happened to be the mother of Solomon, his youngest son. And she goes, "Do you know that Adonijah? You know that he declared himself king? Like, you told me that Solomon was the heir to the throne." And so David, he didn't know any of this shit was going on. He's like, "Oh shit, all right, hold up." He got his advisor. He's like, "All right, go get the mules, go get the party favors, because I'm on my way out. What I need you to do, we're gonna celebrate. We're gonna put Solomon's ass on the throne. Put the crown on the kid's head, because I ain't got time for this shit right now." And he's the one that's doing it. This is the way. Now, what's important to understand is how he met Bathsheba. So before Solomon was born, after David was appointed as king, the next king, after he took over from Saul, he made friends with King Hiram from Tyre. Now, it's a little side note. If you're familiar with Freemasonry and Hiram Abiff, who was the main architect, the Grand Master Mason, who helped build the first temple, that's the Hiram we're talking about. Hiram Abiff and David were good friends. And when David became king, Hiram sent his masons to Israel to build David a palace. When David was pretty much settled, there were some wars going on and shit, but one day he woke up from a nap and he goes out on the balcony and he's just looking out over Israel and he sees this hottie a couple roofs away who's bathing, and he goes, "Damn." And he collects his ministers and goes, "Fetch me that one, please. I would like to speak with her." So Bathsheba comes and meets up with David, and their meeting ends up with her getting pregnant. But at this point, David finds out that she's married to one of his soldiers, Uriah. Pretty good soldier too, if I remember correctly. So he calls out. He's like, send my boy down. I wanna get acquainted. And so David invites Uriah dinner and drinks, and they get to know each other. And right before he sends Uriah back, he hands him a letter. And he goes, "Why don't you do me a favor? I want you to give this to your commander." So, now mind you, he didn't read it. He goes back and he hands it to the commander. The commander reads it, and it says, "During the next battle, put Uriah on the front lines." because he's got a better chance of getting killed off. And so he does. And he does. Then word eventually gets back to Bathsheba that her husband's killed in battle. And she's given like a month to mourn, but after the month mourning period, David pops up. Hey, how you doing? And they get married. And they have baby Solomon, Uncle Solomon. Now, this offends the fuck out of God. In really big ways. Oh, yes, so does that. And God says to David, it's like, fuck, man. It's like, what are you, an asshole? You know, I'm going to do you one better. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to send some deceit throughout your own house, and there's going to be a man who's going to come and challenge you, and he's going to fuck all your women, and everybody's going to know about it. All of Israel is going to know about this. So shortly thereafter, David's oldest son, Absalom, decides that he is going to challenge his father to the throne. And he builds up a gang. And they decide that they're going to overthrow Solomon, or they're going to overthrow David. But David runs. David leaves. David hightails it. And at first glance, you can be like, oh, was he scared? Was he pussy? I thought David fucking beat Goliath. Yeah, that's the point. He was also really battle and war. He had a lot of experience with war and fighting. So another way to look at it is that he wasn't running because he was scared. He was running because he didn't want to kill his son. And that's apparent later on, because once his son kind of establishes himself for a very short time, he gets a party of men and they go chasing after David. And David knows about this. So eventually he's just like, all right, listen, go. He tells his troops that came with me, he's like, go take care of this motherfucker. Go take care of these motherfuckers, but just don't hurt my son, please. Just be careful with him. So fighting ensues. The guys that went with Absalom, they get thwarted, run off. Even Absalom, he runs off. But as he's riding his donkey off the battlefield or into the forest, the wilderness, his hair gets stuck in a tree. And the donkey keeps on going, but he gets stuck. Now David's troops find out about this. And I forget the troops' names, but one guy goes to the other guy, he's like, yo, Absalom, he's all caught up in a tree. You gonna go kill him? And the guy's like, no, what the fuck, what are you talking about? David specifically said, don't kill the kid, leave him. Listen, I ain't doing shit. I ain't doing that shit. So then the other guy takes a couple troops and they take some spears and they fucking kill him. Which breaks David's heart. He goes into mourning over his son, and that sparks some shit. But the point is, all of those things had to happen. All of these things had to happen in order for Uncle Solomon to eventually take the throne. Because if things did not work out exactly the way that they did, right now, wouldn't be what it is. So, shortly after Solomon takes the throne, he reaches out to King Hiram. And he lets him know, my father's dead and I'm on the throne now. But my father wanted to build a house for God. Because up until this point, the Ark of the Covenant, it was living in a tent. No one had ever thought to build God a house. And as as a thank you to God, David had said to God, he's like, listen, I'm going to build you a temple. And God basically said to him, you got too much shit going on. You worry about cleaning your own house. Your son, who takes over for you, he'll worry about that. So this is basically what Solomon tells him. My father's gone and we're ready. You tell me what you need, I'll supply everything. So Solomon and Hiram, they joined forces and they built the first temple of Israel. Again, going back to, if you're familiar with the Freemasonry and the Freemasons and Hiram Abiff, then you know the significance of that collaboration. Well, for one, the first temple was built in the city of David on Temple Mount in Israel. You can go there. I think right now what's there is the Dome on the Rock. But the significance of that particular geographical point is, one, that's where the first temple was built. It's where the second temple was eventually built. It's also where Abraham built the altar where he was going to sacrifice Jacob. But at the same time, that's the same point where God created Adam and Eve. So if you're wondering why the Israelites had to go and fucking massacre and slaughter all those people, it was because of the significance of that particular point on earth. Hashem did not want non-believers living there. Like, that's not your land. Sorry. You guys don't even believe in me, so I'm gonna fix that. So that's when the Israelites came in and they fucking wiped everybody out. All the men, women, and children. Don't leave a single one of them motherfuckers, because you leave any one of them, they're gonna just infect your people with their poison. Pro-genocide? I'm not entirely against it. Depends on the cause. But you gotta consider, also you gotta keep in mind now, like, the people that were being that were being genocided, they weren't God's people. Technically they were cousins. But the beauty of Israel is it's all about freedom. And I want what's mine. That's mine. So I'm going to send my people in to take it back. Because you got to consider, after the whole Nephilim debacle, like, things got all fucked up. The Nephilim, the scourge, the scourge on earth, that the abominations that inspired God to flood the earth. The Bible doesn't get too much into it. You gotta get into the book of Enoch to get more of the story. I think it's Enoch 1. But in the pre-antediluvian age, before the pre-flood age, God had sent down angels to watch over humanity. Don't touch them. Don't do anything. Just watch. That's all you gotta do. Don't be fucking nobody. Don't be talking to nobody. Just mind your own fucking business. That's all you gotta do. Not all of them listened. Some of the angels decided, yo, she's sexy as hell. And I don't like being told what to do. Let's go have some fun. So the angels started marrying the human women and having babies with them. And then the babies were like half human, half angels. And in the eyes of heaven, they were abominations. They were called Nephilim. But at the same time, these angels, the fallen ones, they were teaching humans how to make weapons of war, witchcraft, astrology. They were teaching them all the shit that God didn't want humans to know about. Because I think he wanted them to figure it all out on their own. But then these fucking guys, they went ahead and they were just doing whatever the fuck they wanted. And they kind of ruled over humanity. Like the Nephilim, they were like kings and tyrants. So once Uriel, I think Angel Uriel and Gabriel or Raphael, they tattled to God. And they're like, yo, look what happened. It's like a blood fuck fest down there. A blood fuck fest orgy. God said, this will not do. Fetch me Noah. And then he wiped everybody out. Now, I know, fairy tales. But that same fairy tale is prevalent in every other ancient myths and legends. Zeus also flooded the earth. Vishnu also flooded the earth. Even the Chinese have a great flood. So everyone's got a flood. It's like I don't know why people like point at Christian. Oh, fucking Christian bullshit. Meanwhile, it's fucking everywhere. Everyone's got a flood. Everyone's got a flood, but nobody believes in a flood. I know, that's generalizing. But that was why God flooded the earth. Yeah, like the Nephilim. They were basically like demigods. Like if you go to demigods of Greek mythology, that's who they were. But not all of them were good guys. Some of them were like pretty nasty. And when we come back to the time of Moses and Exodus and Israel and the fucking genocides, yeah, we're taking our shit back. I understand the people that were living there, they took it. They didn't. It wasn't their land to begin with. It's kind of like Americans, you know. Like imagine all of the tribes of the Native Americans, of the indigenous peoples of America, going, all right, time to wipe these fucking Yankees the fuck out. Time to purge the land of the white man. That would be the equivalent. So people talk about like the genocide. They just fucking animals. They genocided people. Yeah, but shift your perspective a little bit. What would you say if the indigenous people of North America decided to fucking take their land back from the American fucking conquerors? Would you still be? And same with the people that shit on Christopher Columbus. Yeah, what are you doing about it? Why don't you go help those people? Instead of shitting on Christopher Columbus for giving you a place to live, why don't you burn your house down and burn down the houses of all your neighbors and then start killing every man, woman, and child like he did? That'll teach you, descendants of Columbus. Dummies. Nah, but it's okay because we got smartphones. We got smartphones out of it. By the way, do a search on YouTube to find out where cobalt comes from. Now, the little black children. All the little African children that get to go into the mines so that you can have your phone. Fuck out of here. Yeah, stand up for something, stand up for it. I can't. I got bills to pay. Yeah, of course. Well, just like Hashem told Moses, tell these motherfuckers, do not be making idols out of silver and gold. That means don't worship money, asshole. It doesn't mean don't make a statue. Get your priorities straight. Yeah. You can't save the world till you start cleaning your own room first. Oh, my room's a fucking mess. Well, it's organized. It's organized chaos. Yeah, you can't say that my room's a goddamn mess. It doesn't look the way that you like it, that you think it should look. Your room doesn't look the way I think it should look either. I don't really give a fuck what your room looks like. But when I say your room is a mess, you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Wipe your own ass. Learn to wipe your own ass before you fucking start telling other people how to wipe theirs. How many channels do you got on your cable subscription? How many hours a day do you spend scrolling through Facebook looking at things to judge? How much time do you actually spend contributing? Or actually sharing your own value? Do you even have any value? What value are you worth? Who the fuck are you to talk to me like that? I don't talk to anybody the way I want to talk to. I'm talking to myself, by the way. I don't even know who the fuck you are. Are you even watching this? I'm doing this for me. This is make myself feel better. This is make me feel better standing on my pedestal. So yeah, and that's kind of how I was looking at it yesterday. When I was thinking about my breakup with my old life, with my ex and my son's mother and my son. Like, in order for me to become who I needed to be, which is who I thought they needed, I needed to get away. She said to me recently, "You abandoned your son." Yeah, I did. But, more like I chose myself, because I realized that the path I was going down wasn't a good one. And I think that anybody who knows me, anybody who thinks they know me from back then can attest that though devilishly handsome and witty and charming and funny and great in all the right ways, there were times where I wasn't on the right path. Where I put the value of money over the value of the people that were actually valuable in my life. But I also attribute that to the fact that I take ownership of it, but I also accept that who I was more than just nature. It was also nurture as well. Nature versus nurture. No, it's nature and nurture. What is in your nature, and then how have you been nurtured from your surroundings, and how are you using your innate natural gifts and abilities to create positive change in the nature around, how are you nurturing your nature? They blame society, because of the conspiracy theories and the New World Order and the fucking reptilians. And yeah, I'm not saying those things don't exist. They absolutely do. I'm part psychic reptile. Like, I know this. I've had to deal with them. I've had enough dealings with them to know, like, they are a fucking thing. And they are not easy to contend with. They don't like to give up power easily, especially the power that they have over you. And you can look at the psychic reptilian aliens. You can look at it from a literal perspective, that there are literal extraterrestrial psychic vampiric reptiles posing as human beings, controlling the comings and goings of humankind. But at the same time, you look at the wording. The psychic reptile. These are people that are operating from their fucking reptilian brain. That the base human behaviors, they feed on the negative emotions. Psychic vampires. Yeah. Right, but explain it that way. Explain it in a way that makes sense. Oh, kind of you got a job. You got a regular guy job. Like your manager. And your manager's manager. Your regional manager. The vice president of the company. How they're like assholes and how they like demand things of you. They use fear tactics and emotional manipulation. They make you feel bad about yourself. They make you hate your job. They make you hate the person, even though you know it's not the person, it's just the job. And they're just doing what they're told. Like Nazis. I was just doing what I was told. I didn't mean offense. I know. I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at your position. But those people, they do get off on the power. It's a power trip. People who get off on power trips. People who get off on the fear of other people. I'm going to make you do what I want by making you afraid of me. I had a boss like that once. I worked for a guy like that. And he even said to me, he said, I want the employees to be afraid of me. I want them to be afraid of losing their jobs because people who are afraid of losing their jobs will do their job better. I don't know where the fuck he got that logic from. I don't know. Because actually, as I was the operations manager of the joint, what I found was that was actually the complete opposite of the truth. People don't like being afraid. People hate being afraid. And they don't like people who want them to be afraid of them. Because eventually it comes to a point where that person goes, who the fuck does this motherfucker think they're talking to? I'll show them. And then it turns into this negative feedback loop. And I'm not saying that I'm not guilty of that. Like, of course. I used to use those type of tactics in my home. The best way to get my son to be who I want him to be is to make him afraid of me, and I'll make him do what I want him to do. I'll make him not be me. Because one of my biggest fears as a parent, and I think this is a fear that a lot of parents can relate to, is I don't want my kid to turn out like me. And I can already see me in you. And that's not a good thing because I don't like me, which is now making me not like you. And that's not how it's supposed to be. So maybe I need to take a step back and figure out what it is about myself that I don't like, so I can get my shit together and clean my room up, if you feel me. Now, over the course of these years, over these past 5 years, I've been living with my mother. And I don't have a job. I don't have a regular person job. No, I do, actually, because I hired myself. So I'm working 2 jobs at once. Well, more than 2. I got several jobs that I'm working all at once. But they all revolve around working for myself. My son's mother, she once said to me, because I had asked her, once, like if she wanted to go into business with me. And she said, no, absolutely not. Why the fuck would I want to go into business with you? You would be the worst business owner ever because that's all you would do. And she's not wrong. But I looked at it like this. Better for me to work for myself and put all of my time and energy into my own work than put all of my time and energy into someone else's work. Especially for people that I really don't know if I like in work. Listen, I love you. I do. It's just I didn't like you in work. I thought you were an asshole. Outside of work, you're peaches and cream. I love to tickle the bottoms of your feet, you fat fuck. But in work, we didn't gel. It's not a matter that I didn't like you. But also at the time, you got to keep in mind that for a long time, I used to point the finger at everybody else. It took a lot of work for me to learn how to point the finger at myself, which is something I think that you need to learn how to do if you haven't already learned how to do that. I like to believe that you have. You're a very good person. You're a great father. You're a great business owner. You taught me a lot because I wouldn't know a fraction of the things that I know if not for observing you. Not that I would take a lot of your practice into practice, but they serve as a good foundational component to build from. You're an excellent teacher. And I understand the emphasis on the money. I get it. But we come from two different worlds. Now, I don't know, maybe it changed. People change. I'm not denying that. People change. It's really like, it'd be arrogant to say like, oh, you're the exact same person that I saw the last time I saw you. It's not true. You changed. I changed. We change. Everyone changes. We learn from our experiences, and we grow as people. And so over these 5 years, like that's really what I've needed to do, is to really grow into myself. And to see where I was lacking, what I was looking at the wrong way. I mean, all of the things that I didn't like about myself, that I didn't like about my son, I ended up finding out that those were the best parts about me. So the boy, believe it or not, past Derek, everything about the boy that you got to complain about is actually the best part about him. It's like Daddy said, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And it's like Tiffany said, all the parts that you hate about yourself the most are the best parts about you. You just have to learn how to see it. Because once you can see how the best parts about you are actually the worst parts about you, then you can see the people who share those characteristics and how that makes them just as good as you, if not better. Kind of like what's coming to my mind is Goku and Gohan. After the Saiyans, after Raditz and after Raditz shows up and Goku has to sacrifice himself while Piccolo blasts a fucking hole through Raditz with a special beam cannon. Goku takes one for the team too. He takes it. And they both die. Goku's gone for fucking years after that. But he also spent his time wisely. Once he went into the underworld, it's not like he was like, oh, woe is me, woe is me. No, you know what that nigga did? He started training his ass off. This way, when he got back just in time for Nappa and Vegeta to show up, he was ready to whoop their asses. But at the same time, while he was gone, Piccolo took it upon himself to take on young Gohan as his apprentice and train him in the ways of battle. Because up until the Raditz saga, Goku was a little kid. Gohan was a little kid. He's a little boy. He doesn't know shit. Can't fucking defend himself. Yeah, he does have that secret power, the hidden potential, that fatality, and he fucking just, but he needed to get fucking trained, and he needed Piccolo to whoop his ass into shape. While also maintaining his studies, because there's nothing more dangerous than a sharp mind that is well educated. Knowledge is potential power. Potential, as my teacher Jim Quick would say, because it depends on how you apply it. If you don't apply that knowledge, it ain't worth shit. All that power gets flushed down the fucking toilet. That's why it's important to read, kids. Or listen to audiobooks. Because, as I was saying before, especially in relation to this is an hour and a half. Now imagine, you just sat with me for an hour and a half. That's an hour and a half that you just fucking wasted. Imagine if you put that bitch on 2x speed. If you were playing this at 2x speed, we'd be at the 45-minute mark right now. And by the time we get to the end of this, because it's going to be about 2 hours, if you were to put this on 2x speed, and one, you don't even need to, get up off your ass. You don't need to be fucking sitting there watching me. I mean, granted, mind you, I don't mind you looking at my pretty ass face. But I'm just walking in circles on a fucking concrete slab in front of a fucking tower. There's nothing spectacular to be staring at except for me. What you could be doing, put this on your headphones. Put this on your headphones and go relax. Go lie down, shut your eyes. Just enjoy the sounds of my voice. And if you crank this bitch up to 2x speed, this 2-hour lecture, you can cram in an hour. And it's not like you're gonna miss anything. You're not gonna miss anything. As a matter of fact, what's gonna happen is your subconscious mind is gonna isolate all of the things that I'm saying that are actually relevant to you. Because I would bet that out of all of this 2 hours worth of talking, maybe 0.002% of what I'm saying is gonna stick. Or is relevant. Now, mind you, that's not to say that in the very near future, you're gonna experience events. You'll have experiences that'll bring you back to this moment. You go, holy shit. This is just like what's-his-face said. This is like Mr. Toxic said. Because sometimes the information that we take in may not seem relevant at the time. Not until we get to a point in the future where we experience the thing that is relevant to that which we took in. Consider there's going to come a point in the very near future where you look back, I look back, we look back on this exact moment, and we are so fucking glad and grateful. Thank you, Hashem. That everything between now and then played out exactly the way that it did. Those are facts. You can call them synchronicity, divine intervention. What the fuck is this? I hate when people are standing there because I feel like people are listening to me. Call it fucking divine intervention, synchronicity, coincidence, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But whatever it is that's going to trigger that thing, it'll make sense when it happens. I feel weird because these ladies are watching me. I was listening to what you were saying. It was actually incredibly insightful. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now fuck off. Because you're making me uncomfortable. Thank you. Well, there's a trail right there. There's a trail right there, so I don't know if you can tell. I got headphones on, and there's music playing, so I can't exactly tell how loud I'm being. So when people walk by, yeah, they're probably going to hear a fucking raving madman who's just walking in circles talking to himself. But listen, I'm not just talking for you. I'm talking for myself as well. I know I'm talking like there's somebody watching this, but it makes me feel better doing that. As a person who has aspirations of public speaking, I feel like this is the best simulation for that. Lets me kill two birds with one stone because probably more than that. Because one, my mind is simulating what it feels like to have an audience watching me. And at the same time, I get to listen to myself talk, which is like, I love listening to myself talk. I don't watch these, by the way. It's like, I don't know. It's like listening to yourself talk. I don't know. I don't need to do it. I don't like the sound of my voice when it's not coming out of my mouth in real time. I was watching this interview with Johnny Depp not too long ago, and did you know he's never seen any of his movies? He doesn't watch his own movies, and I don't blame him. It's the process. And that's what he said. It's the process that I appreciate. I like all the work that goes into it. I don't need to see the finished product. I know it's gold. Well, he didn't say that, but I'm kind of just answering for him. Because it's like, you're supposed to be humble, right? People don't appreciate self-aggrandizement. Oh my God, I'm fucking amazing. But I'm fucking amazing. Like, and that's another thing. Like, if I'm not going to tell myself how fucking awesome I am, I can't rely on other people to do it. One of my biggest gripes when I was married was the fact that my wife wasn't sucking my dick for all the hard work that I was doing every single day. But when I really think about it, was I really doing hard work? No, I was fucking killing myself for some other fucking person's dream. Like, I wasn't happy. And if she offered, I probably would have been like, no, not right now. I'm too depressed with my life. I wouldn't even have said that. I would have been like, get away from me. Because I don't know how to share emotions. I don't know how to share feelings. Get out of there. Get out of here. Go find a boyfriend. And then when she would find a boy, whoa, hold up. I'm better now. That happens. Potential. Well, I mean, I don't know. It's none of my business. Well, it's not my business, it ain't my business. But even in that particular scenario, I can't blame anybody but myself. I go, you fucking did it, you said it. I didn't say I love you. I said I like you swell. But the reason I said that was because I didn't like the feelings that I felt when I said I love you. That's why it was very difficult for me to say. Why don't you ever say it? Mind you, also considering where I came from and my upbringing, like I would blame it on my father. Like, we don't say I love you. I knew my father for 35 years. We said I love you like 3 times. About. Less than 5. Even on his deathbed, we didn't say I love you. And there was even a moment, I remember a moment, an uncomfortable moment, where it was like, should we say that? This is going to be one of those moments I regret for the rest of my life because I didn't say, Daddy, I love you. Yeah, it was one of those, I know the feeling. It was the same thing. Like, if my wife got dressed up or anything, like, I was explaining this to a friend of mine. Like, I said, like, one of the biggest, like, regrets is, like, I never said, you look beautiful, I love you. I love you, you look beautiful today. I never said that. But I thought it. It's the thought that counts. It's not like I didn't think it. It's just I didn't express it because in my mind, what the adversary would say, because I didn't know about a lot of this shit back then. I was just a fucking ignorant goy boy. Goyim, non-Jew. I had no sense of spirituality in my life. I didn't know complex concepts of metaphysics and how the mind and consciousness, how there's 2 layers, there's 2 main components of it. There's the one side that it's kind of like the devil and the angel on your shoulders. That's how it is. The soul is split into two halves. You have the light side, you have the dark side. The dark side's the one that's going, you fucking idiot. She's gonna laugh at you. And she's gonna tell everybody and everyone's gonna laugh at you because you said I love you. Look at yourself. You ever see Guardians of the Galaxy? I believe it's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, where Mantis is like reading Peter, and she's like, "You feel love?" He's like, "Yeah. I feel love for everybody. I feel love for all of you." And she goes, "No. This is sexual love for her." And then and then what's his face? He's like, "I bet you feel stupid right now." Yeah. And even in fucking Guardians of the Galaxy 3, where he's having the conversation with Gamora, with New Gamora, when Peter's having the conversation with New Gamora, and he's trying to like isolate the channel so it's just him talking to her, but he hits the wrong button and everybody hears what he's saying, but it's all quiet while he's like expressing his, like opening up his heart to her, and then he turns around and everyone's like, "Oh God, ugh, been waiting for it to stop." That cringe, you know, the cringe. Yeah. One of my missions over, if you saw Rick and Morty, you know what I'm talking about. One of my missions over the past couple of years, and I do a lot of writing, so my writing involves me going back and rereading my writing. There are a few things as cringy as reading your own diaries. Especially the older they are, the cringier they get. But something that I've learned is I love cringe. Oh my God, it's delicious. The psychic reptilian vampire in me loves cringe. But a very special and unique kind of cringe. My own cringe. Oh, yeah. Like, and that's the thing too, is I know like what, like if I've been wanting to rewatch these because I know the cringe will just make me want to vomit. But at the same time, see, here's the nice thing about cringe is the cringe only lasts so long. You just got to sit through it. It's like It's like, oh my God. What's coming to my mind is like getting raped. Like getting butt raped. Like going to prison and getting butt raped. Like at first it sucks. And it's like, I can't believe this is happening. But then it's just like, all right, fuck, I just gotta power through this, man. Fuck! And then you come out the other end, you're like, all right, fine, I'm still alive. But I'm stronger for it. Hit me again. That's gonna get me in trouble. Fuck it. That's cringe. When I go back and I reread my journals, that's what it feels like. It feels like I'm butt raping myself. Go through it like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. God. I'm just seeing the future where I have to rewatch this. Because there's going to come a point where I forget everything. Not that I forget, but... Oh my God, I couldn't go back and tell you, talk word for word what I said on the fucking 2 hours from yesterday. But I'm sure if I were to rewatch it, there are some things that I would say that make me go, ugh. But, again, here's the nice thing about cringe. And I'm using examples of reading through my own journals because this is a project that I do. Is by going back and rereading them, like, yeah, there's the cringe, but sometimes you gotta reread it more than once. You gotta drain that cringe. It's like a fucking blister. You gotta drain all the fucking pus out of it. Ugh. And eventually a callus will form. So it's just a matter of thickening your own skin with your own words from the past that you don't want to listen to. And mind, this is going to take fucking forever. Like, what I got on here. I just started re-recording for this channel, like, in April. In May. I think May 17th, actually. But since over that time, I think I might have added, like, probably like 100 hours, close to 100 hours, maybe. Because there was a point where I was doing fucking 2 or 3 of these things a day. That's between 2 and 6 hours of my time talking. Do you ever shut the fuck up? No, I got a Mercury in Leo. I love talking about myself. But that's all I do all day. I talk or I write. I read. I gotta go talk some more, write some more. I spent the morning talking to a couple people. And when I write, like I'm writing. But when I write, sometimes I write for like an hour, half hour, 45 minutes. I don't write just like, oh, hey, how you doing? I'm coming through with fucking the wisdom of Solomon. Ugh. Uncle Solomon. Sorry, Hashem. It's okay. What happened? How did I get out here? What's going on right now? It's 3 o'clock. All is Othala. What the hell is happening? You didn't seriously forget what you were talking about, did you? Yeah, I'm talking about myself. Yeah, about how I talk a lot. How I talk a lot and how I record myself talking to myself a lot. Yes, I know what I'm doing. I feel like is that Liz? It might be. But Oh, right. Because I was thinking about all of the time it would take for me to go back and rewatch all of these fucking videos. Well, you know what? That's not a bad idea, because the idea that's coming to my mind is actually watching them in reverse from the earliest all the way back down to the latest, to the first one, which I know that first one would be cringy as fuck. I tried rewatching it once. I started it. I was like, yuck. But here's the thing. That's right. So going through the cringe, reading through my own journals, experiencing the cringe, owning the cringe, and allowing it to callous itself over, what ends up happening is I start to see the insights and the wisdoms that's